So we're making our way through Colossians chapter 3, and we're talking about our responsibility as Christ followers to live out this life, this salvation that God has given us through Jesus Christ. We've already talked about the importance of taking our eyes, our focus off the temporary things of this world and placing them on the eternal things of what is to come. Now today we're going to look at Colossians 3 verse 5 and listen to what Paul says. Put to death, therefore, what is earthly in you, sexual immorality, impurity, passion, evil desire, and covetousness, which is idolatry. That's quite a list, isn't it? And what does Paul tell us to do? He says, I want you to put these things to death. What does that mean? And how do we do that in our lives? How do I put immorality and evil desire to death in my life? Well, one of the surest ways to put something to death is to starve it. Can I suggest to you that Paul is encouraging us, challenging, commanding us to starve these things out of our lives? We live in a culture where we are surrounded by this sexual saturation. It comes into everything. Even if you can find something decent to watch on TV, the commercials you can't even look at. You don't want your children in the room. I don't want to be in the room to see half the things that are on there. We need to starve these things in our lives. We have a natural tendency as human beings to gravitate toward these things. Our minds work in this way. We are self-focused and we are easily led into these areas in our minds, if not our actions. We need to starve these things out of our lives. We need to be careful what we are watching, what we are reading, whether it's on the television, your computer, your laptop, and perhaps most difficult of all, on your phones. They're in our pockets every day, and we have a tendency to look at them 100 times a day, and they're full of all these things as well. Paul says we need to put those things to death. The only way you can put that to death in your life by the power of the Holy Spirit is to starve them. Do not feed these things in your lives. Do not let them enter your minds. And then he adds this at the end to this list. It's almost a little bit incongruous that he includes this, but he says, and covetousness, which is idolatry. Of course, covetousness is just one more avenue of self-focus, isn't it? I don't have this and I want it. They have it, I don't. It's idolatry, my friends. It is putting things and our desires in front of God, who alone is worthy of our worship. Folks, can I challenge you today to starve these things out of your lives, to be careful what you are seeing and what you are listening to, and the information that is going into your minds, which causes these things to grow. As Christ followers, we need to put these things to death and live out the life that God has given us.